Ilya didn't fight, and I think this is UFC game plan. It's not like family issue or something. Is they want to make star Paddy Pimblett.
And it's like, oh, the UFC is coming to Paramount Plus. I'll check out this first fight card. Like, that dude doesn't know about Arman Tsarukyan. That guy doesn't care.
Arman Tsarukyan blasts the UFC for overlooking him, claiming unfair treatment despite earning top contender status and repeatedly proving he deserves better. Before this point, MMA Guru discusses fan frustration with recent matchmaking decisions. Transitioning into this section, he explains that Arman was informed early about a potential matchup involving Ilya and Paddy long before his own return fight. The Guru says this detail reshapes how people view the situation, as it shows the UFC had already mapped out certain plans, which makes the current reactions from fans and fighters more understandable.
So going into the Dan Hooker matchup, Arman was already told, we're making Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett. So a lot of people out there that are really reacting to this Paddy Pimblett getting an interim title shot with Justin Gaethje and saying he doesn't deserve the shot with Justin Gaethje for the interim title. We could have had Paddy Pimblett getting a straight up title shot against Ilia Topuria. And that was actually in the works and happening. There were rumors of it, but Arman just confirmed he knew about that going into the Dan Hooker matchup. While he's obviously had a lot of time off, and I think if they would have announced this during his time off, no one would have complained as much because Arman's been out for ages.
Continuing from the earlier explanation, Guru adds that the UFC may have waited to reveal these plans until Arman competed again, possibly to avoid stronger backlash. He notes that the matchup was close to becoming official and only scheduling changes prevented it from happening sooner. Guru points out that this could explain Paddy Pimblett's sudden movement in the rankings and why many believe the UFC had a predetermined direction for this storyline.
Maybe they would have still complained that Arman deserved a shot for sure, but it's almost like they waited until after the Dan Hooker matchup to announce this, just to intentionally rile up the entire MMA community and maybe intentionally rile up Arman Tsarukyan. But apparently he knew about Ilia Topuria Paddy Pimblett that was going to happen before this even started. And if Ilia didn't take personal time off, we were getting Topuria Pimblett in January. A crazy revelation. I didn't think that was true. I thought, okay, they're going to have to build up this. Pimblett's going to have to fight Gaethje first, and then they can justify a Topuria matchup. But no, they were going to straight up justify a Topuria matchup. And maybe that's why he magically levitated up the rankings.
Leading into this part, Guru shifts from explaining the UFC's early matchmaking plans to how those plans affected Arman's expectations. He points out that even with a strong performance, Arman was never truly in line for a title opportunity, despite what was publicly suggested. This sets up Guru's criticism of how the situation was handled, showing the gap between what Arman was told and what the UFC intended behind the scenes.
There is a family issue, but I think the UFC might be taking advantage of the situation to build up this stuff. But he knew that even if he finished Dan Hooker by knockout, there was no title shot for Arman. So the UFC just said, fight Dan Hooker. Even Dana White said at a press conference, yeah, the winner of this is going to fight for a belt. Sure. Apparently not. Apparently not. So they just made Arman fight Dan Hooker and just laughed about it like, lol, we're still going to make Paddy Pimblett fight for some kind of title against Justin Gaethje anyway.
Before this moment, Arman Tsarukyan explains his view on how recent matchmaking was shaped by the UFC's long-term plans. Transitioning into this section, he suggests the UFC wanted a specific fight to happen earlier in the year and believes it was part of a larger strategy to position certain names for bigger opportunities. His comments show he feels the promotion is guiding the division in a direction that doesn't match competitive order.
I already knew that Paddy gonna fight with Ilia Topuria in January. So, but I didn't know they're gonna do interim title versus Gaethje and Paddy.
Continuing from the earlier point, Arman shifts toward evaluating the division itself. He explains that he doesn't see many real challenges left for him after the top champion moved on, and he feels confident he can handle the main contenders. This part builds on his belief that the UFC's choices aren't based on skill levels, but on creating bigger stories, which adds to his frustration with the current situation.
But I knew that UFC wants to do Ilya versus Paddy, and on my mind, I didn't think like it's something happened even if I knock him out, because they already set up that all things. But at the end of the day, Ilya didn't fight, and I think this is UFC game plan. It's not like family issue or something. It's they want to make star Paddy Pimblett.
Furthermore, the focus was on how UFC fans follow fighters differently. Now, Jed Mishu talks about casual viewers who just want exciting fights and may not know much about Arman Tsarukyan. This leads into his thoughts on the co-main event and why some fights like Justin Gaethje's are made to grab attention and keep the audiences entertained, even if they're not about the top contender storylines.
On Thanksgiving, and it's like, oh, the UFC is coming to Paramount Plus. I'll check out this first fight card. Like, that dude doesn't know about Arman Tsarukyan. That guy doesn't care. He's just going to watch some fist fights. And this is for that guy. And it's especially for that guy because we'll talk about the co-main event. The co-main event is a terrific fight. I am very, very excited to watch that fight. There is, I would say, at least a 50-50 chance that fight is not the most compelling thing to watch for a casual observer. And let me tell you, nobody in the history of the universe has ever been like, Justin Gaethje is not fun. Justin Gaethje is boring. And so you can end the night guaranteed with the Justin Gaethje fight.
Following Jed Mishu's point about casual fans tuning in for exciting fights, Dane Thomas offers his expert breakdown of the Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje matchup. He explains each fighter's strengths and weaknesses, why this fight matters for the division, and why it's Paddy's best opportunity at a title. This builds on the earlier discussion about which matchups capture fan attention versus real contender rankings.
I personally don't think it's going to be that close at all. I mean, Paddy Pimblett's crafty. He's a crafty fighter. He's got a very strong skill set. He's not afraid to fight off of his back. He doesn't wrestle all that well, but he uses his length well in terms of his kicks. But I just think the amount of violence that Justin Gaethje brings to the fight is going to be too much for Paddy. I mean, we saw what Paddy did against Jared Gordon, and a lot of people think he lost that fight. And Justin Gaethje is not Jared Gordon. You know what I'm saying? Now, Paddy looked great against Bobby Green. That was a really quick fight. He looked great against Michael Chandler, but Michael Chandler was on a decline. I just think that Paddy, this is his best chance. We talked about Gaethje. This is also Paddy's best chance of winning a title because I don't think he would have fared well against Ilya or Tsarukyan either, but this is his best chance of winning a title, and I don't even really see it being all that close.
Building on his earlier analysis of Paddy's fight, Dane now looks at how these matchups affect other fighters in the division. He focuses on Arman Tsarukyan, who missed a title shot due to injury, and explains how current matchmaking decisions may delay his opportunities. This sets up a discussion on possible solutions, like fighters moving weight classes, and highlights the challenges of fitting deserving contenders into the UFC's current lightweight picture.
Well, I think he would be doing the organization a big favor if he moved up and tried to get that belt, because then that gives Tsarukyan an opportunity to fight right away, because Jed said it earlier, Tsarukyan is the biggest loser in all of this. It's unfortunate for him because he was going to fight for the title, had to pull out because of that back injury, and it seemed to be they never forgave him for that. Even though he's done everything he needed to do, he deserved this. Now he's going to have to either wait a long time or take another couple of fights before he gets an opportunity. I think it would be better for him or easier for him if Ilya was just like, all right, I'm giving up the belt, or just moved up to 170 and tried to fight Islam, because then that would clear a path for Tsarukyan to get in. Outside of that, I have no idea how they're going to handle this, because Tsarukyan deserves a shot somewhere, and I'm not sure where he fits in.
Following the discussion about title shots and contender matchups, the focus turns to Arman's personal feelings toward Paddy Pimblett. He shares his strong opinions about fighters he sees as unworthy opponents, and offers support to Justin Gaethje, showing his readiness to be involved behind the scenes. It sets up a statement about helping Gaethje prepare and his clear frustration with Pimblett, highlighting the personal tension in the division. He said, "Justin, if you need help, let me know. I'll fly to you and help you. That guy, I hate him. He's such a..." After discussing the UFC's matchmaking and its impact on Arman, Wade Clemens explains why this particular title opportunity should have gone to Arman. He points out that Arman was ready to fight again quickly, hadn't taken much damage, and could have competed in January. Wade questions why past pullouts or minor incidents would prevent him from getting a title shot, setting up a closer look at UFC's decision making.
And we'll get into some detractors of Arman in a second, but this one was a no-brainer. It should have been Arman. He could turn around. I think he even said he could turn around for January. I know he just had a fight, but he didn't take any damage and was open about the fact that he would turn around quickly. Why Arman doesn't get this shot? It has to be maybe because of the pullout.
Continuing, Wade examines potential reasons Arman was overlooked, like inactivity or small controversies, and compares this to other fighters such as Paddy Pimblett, who received opportunities despite similar concerns. He highlights inconsistencies in how the UFC rewards fighters, showing that readiness and skill don't always guarantee a title shot. This analysis connects back to broader discussions about fairness, contender rankings, and the UFC's promotional choices within the division.
What was it, like 10 months ago now or something? Was it because he headbutted Dan Hooker in the face at their face-off? Is it because he's somewhat inactive as well? If that's the case, then we got to put Paddy Pimblett under the microscope too. We'll get into it in a second, but this should have been Arman.
After analyzing contender rankings and UFC matchmaking decisions, the focus shifts to Arman's perspective. He explains how he sees the division and his own place in it, emphasizing that his goal is to face top-level competition. This sets up his thoughts on the BMF title, showing that while other matchups are happening, he believes the next logical step for him is a high-profile fight, ideally against Max Holloway. He said, "It's a business. At the end of the day, I have the same goal. Everybody knows that I'll beat everybody, and it's just a matter of time. I hope they give me the BMF title at least. What are they going to give me? Who do we have in our division to fight if it's not Holloway?" Adding on, after discussing other fighters being overlooked, Angelo Bedetti explains who realistically deserves title shots in the lightweight division. He points out that besides Arman, only a few fighters like Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett are in serious contention. He also explains why champions like Max Holloway or Charles Oliveira aren't in the mix, showing how UFC priorities, belt rules, and current wins shape who gets title opportunities.
So I'm not going to look at the record. What I'm going to look at is this dude is on a 7-fight inside the UFC win streak. I don't hate him being in there. Then if you want to debate the other side, Arman is an interesting debate, right? It probably should be Arman. Like I said, I think everybody agrees. But outside of that, Max Holloway is the only other person, right? Ilya's gone. It was his belt. That's why we have this. Islam's not in this weight class anymore. Shouldn't be ranked there anymore. We have Arman. Max Holloway, he is coming off a win over Dustin, but he's the BMF champion. And they don't want to commingle those belts. They don't want one person to have them both, because the reason the BMF belt exists is to have a belt for people that'll never actually be a true undisputed world champion or can't be in that current era. Charles Oliveira, we can't keep giving this dude title shots. I know people love him. He's amazing, but save him for a BMF title shot.
Continuing, Angelo highlights that promotional factors, fan appeal, and fighter influence play a big role in matchmaking. He notes that Justin Gaethje got an opportunity due to timing and excitement, but this doesn't mean Arman is underserving. This part emphasizes that readiness and skill matter, but UFC strategy also guide who gets spotlighted first, keeping Arman in the conversation while explaining why other fighters might be prioritized for certain fights.
Justin Gaethje is the next one after that. After Justin is Benoit Saint Denis. We're not going to give Benoit a title shot, not yet. Hanato Moikan's on a 2-fight losing streak. Gamrot just lost. Physique, like, that's it. Like, that's the weight class. So the only 3 people that are even in a conversation for any sort of title fight right now at lightweight are Arman, Paddy, and Justin.
Yeah.
So the only real debate is, should Arman have gotten it? I get them not doing the quick turnaround. Justin, I think, is being a bit of a, hey, do this or I'm out. And the UFC's looking at it. Hey, this guy's exciting. He's helped us out in the past. It's a ton of fun no matter what. Let's just do it. And they did it. So I don't necessarily hate that.
Moving on, Nick Pate explains how Arman Tsarukyan remains a top lightweight, even if he isn't fighting immediately. He notes that scheduling, injuries, and timing have delayed some opportunities, but Arman's position as a leading contender is still secure. This sets up why other matchups like Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett are getting attention while keeping Arman relevant for future title shots.
I think the winner here for me is, this sounds mental, is kind of like Arman Tsarukyan. Because Arman Tsarukyan, for me, is the standout #1 contender. And if Ilya spins out in January, when Arman's just fought last week, there's no way Arman Tsarukyan fights in January. So actually, everyone's kind of having a go at Gaethje and certainly having a go at Paddy at the moment. I think Tsarukyan's the winner, because regardless of who wins this interim belt, I still think this is a final eliminator to face the winner of Ilya versus Tsarukyan anyway. Now, listen, a lot of things can happen. People can get injured. Tsarukyan especially could get injured, and it could change the landscape a little bit. But I honestly thought when we left Qatar, I was thinking, wow, Paddy's going to get a shot at Ilya, man. January's going to be amazing. It's actually going to happen. So in a lot of ways, I think that for me has been the breaking news this week.
Continuing, Nick looks at the rest of the lightweight division, including fighters like Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira, and Max Holloway, who are on track for high-profile fights. He explains that while these bouts dominate the current schedule, matchups like Gaethje versus Pimblett for the interim belt make sense for the UFC. This emphasizes that even if Arman isn't in the immediate spotlight, he remains in line for major opportunities down the road.
That, unfortunately, arguably the best fighter on planet Earth today, Ilia Topuria, we're only going to get to see once in 2025. Really disappointing. And he's not the busiest of fighters anyway. Ilia, he has 1 or maybe 2 fights per year, looking at his entire record. So that's frustrating. That's disappointing. So then you go, okay, well, if Tsarukyan's out of the equation, who are the next 2 best guys in the lightweight division that are gunning for each other? Because, listen, the other 2 names that you would bring into the conversation in and around 155 would be former champion Charles Oliveira and current BMF champion Max Holloway, both of whom have fought Ilia Topuria, by the way. But regardless of that, both of whom are on a collision course to fight for that BMF belt. I don't think anyone watching this video is going to deny that we are all desperate to see that fight, because you've got legend versus legend. Cannot wait to see it.
After breaking down the UFC's matchmaking, it's clear that Arman Tsarukyan is one of the division's most skilled and consistent fighters. Despite his wins, the promotion has prioritized others for title shots and high-profile matchups, often based in timing, fan appeal, and promotional strategy rather than merit alone. Arman's frustration is understandable. He remains ready, capable, and eager, yet the path to a title remains unclear. This situation highlights the tension between fighter skill and UFC business decisions, showing how even top contenders must navigate politics, timing, and opportunity to reach the championship. So, what do you think? Is the UFC overlooking Arman Tsarukyan, or is this just a smart matchmaking strategy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.